What if your cat isn't staring at nothing at all? That empty corner may contain an entire world of sounds, movements, and signals your human senses simply cannot detect. To you, the room seems quiet and still. But your cat experiences that same room through sensory equipment dramatically different from yours. And hearing is where things get incredible. Cats can hear frequencies reaching roughly 64 kilohertz, far beyond the upper range of human hearing. That means a sound completely non-existent to you may be impossible for your cat to ignore. A mouse moving inside a wall, tiny insects above the ceiling, or faint mechanical noises from pipes and electronics can instantly transform a boring wall into your cat's favorite mystery. And those remarkable ears can rotate towards sounds with impressive precision. So when your cat suddenly freezes and looks past you, watch the ears. They may reveal what has captured their attention. Hearing is only the beginning. Your cat's eyes are also built for a different visual world, especially when the lights get low and your own vision starts failing. Cats need far less light than humans to navigate effectively. Their eyes are specialized for detecting movement in dim conditions, the perfect equipment for an animal evolved to hunt around dawn and dusk. That tiny flicker on the wall you barely noticed? Your cat may detect it instantly. A moving shadow, reflected watch face, or passing car outside can become irresistible visual prey. Sometimes the culprit is almost ridiculously small, a speck of dust drifting through sunlight. To a motion-sensitive predator, that floating particle can be far more interesting than the television. Then, there are whiskers. They aren't just adorable facial decorations. Each one is deeply connected to sensory structures that help your cat gather remarkably subtle information about nearby surroundings. Whiskers can help cats sense nearby surfaces and subtle air disturbances. So, a tiny creature moving somewhere close may create clues your cat notices before you ever see it. Now combine that with smell. A cat's sense of smell is vastly more informative than ours, turning your ordinary home into a constantly changing map of invisible chemical messages. Another animal may have passed outside your door hours ago, yet lingering scent molecules can still provide your cat with information about who was there and where they traveled. This helps explain the classic doorway stare. Your cat may be hearing footsteps outside, smelling another animal, or watching microscopic movement while you see nothing but a closed door. But here's where it gets even more fascinating. Cats don't merely detect these signals. They can focus on them with the patience of a predator waiting for the perfect moment. Wild felines survive by noticing tiny clues before prey appears. Your house cat still carries that predatory wiring, even when the prey is just a barely visible bug behind the curtain. Even the walls themselves can provide clues. Vibrations from plumbing, appliances, construction, or activity in another room can attract intense attention when your cat is resting quietly. And then comes the ceiling stare, the one that makes owners especially nervous. Usually, the explanation is wonderfully ordinary: insects, pipes, air vents, shadows, or faint noises above. Your windows create another sensory theater. Reflections shift, birds move hundreds of feet away, branches tremble, and insects cross the glass, sometimes faster than your attention can register them. At night, glass becomes even stranger. Indoor lights turn windows into mirrors, creating moving reflections that may briefly look like another animal, or something worth investigating. There's another reason staring can look supernatural. Cats often react before we identify the cause. We notice the stare first, and only seconds later hear the sound ourselves. That timing creates the illusion that your cat somehow knew something impossible. In reality, they may simply have received the same information earlier through a more sensitive sensory channel. Cats also remember where interesting things happened. If your cat once discovered a bug near one corner, don't be surprised when they return later and stare hopefully at the same spot. Sometimes, though, your cat really may be staring without an obvious external target. Cats can sit quietly, process their surroundings, and hold their gaze while remaining completely relaxed. The key is body language. Forward ears, dilated pupils, twitching whiskers, and a tense crouch suggest active investigation. Soft eyes and a loose posture usually tell a much calmer story. If the ears start swiveling independently, pay attention. Your cat may be triangulating a faint sound, collecting tiny auditory clues until they determine exactly where it's coming from. And if the tail tip begins flicking while the body stays frozen, you may be watching intense concentration, the same focused state cats use when deciding whether to stalk. Want to investigate? Follow your cat's gaze. Look for tiny insects, shifting reflections, moving shadows, vents, pipes, or activity outside. You may finally discover their mysterious target. But don't shine bright lights into your cat's eyes or repeatedly interrupt them. Most staring episodes are harmless exploration, and sometimes the best response is simply to observe. There is one important exception. Staring deserves more attention when it appears alongside unusual confusion, disorientation, repetitive behavior, sudden personality changes, or other new neurological-looking signs. Especially in older cats, a new pattern of staring combined with behavior changes is worth discussing with your veterinarian. Context matters far more than one mysterious stare by itself. For a healthy cat behaving normally, however, staring into space is usually less paranormal mystery and more sensory detective work happening at a level humans simply can't access. Imagine hearing sounds no one around you hears, noticing movements everyone else misses, and smelling traces of visitors long after they've disappeared. That's much closer to your cat's everyday reality. So the next time your cat suddenly locks onto an empty corner, resist asking, "What are you staring at?" A better question might be, "What am I completely missing?" Your cat shares your home, but experiences a completely different sensory world, richer in sounds, scents, vibrations, and tiny movements. If your cat does this, tell us what they stare at below. Like, subscribe, and share this with another cat lover.